I'm Corbett Wall with DB Auction, here with your feeder flash for Thursday, May the 21st. Formula trade is lacking, and I know we've been pushing for a 30 or 50 minimum negotiated cash trade, but as we move through this COVID-19, we've noticed that we are starting to get more cash trade, and actually the formula trade is lacking. And I'm learning that part of the reason that this formula trade is lacking, that it is likely costing the packers more due to some of these formula negotiations that they have. Of course, we don't get to see that. That's private. But the formula trade is actually costing them more with the box beef cutout values being so high on the dressed meat, and they can buy these cash cattle cheaper than what the formula cattle are actually costing them. And so we've seen them backing off from the formula cattle, buying more cash cattle, at the same time making themselves look good as they're buying just a few cattle at the top of the price range there, and it's making it look like an honest negotiated cash trade there, as they are pushing the market a little bit higher each week here as we move on through this COVID-19. But let's look at the board on Wednesday. June live cattle futures down 37 cents at 98.40. August down 145 at 97.62. You go on out from there, it's down 117 to 150. May feeder cattle down hard at down 142 at 126 even. August down 292 at $129 even. Going out from there, and it's still stiff losses from 217 to 282 lower. Fat cattle trade, and they traded more negotiated cash. On Wednesday, Iowa had confirmed sales of 4,600 head from 114 to 115. Dress sales from 175 all the way up to 190. Nebraska from 9,300 head confirmed from 119 to 120. And dress sales from 175 to 190 there also. Kansas sold 2,500 head. Texas sold 3,500 head, all at 120. So we're seeing quite a bit of negotiated cash sales, and like I said, they're doing that to look good in case of investigation, and they're also doing that because likely those cattle are ending up costing them less than what they would if they handle more formula cattle. And I tell you what, these formula partners that they have are really getting hammered here because they're not picking their cattle up. They're not moving that many of them. They're buying all their cattle a negotiated cash trade within current delivery or within the next 14 days, and they got to pick those cattle up or else put them back on feed. And the formula guys, they just tell them that they don't have room for them, and they just keep them riding. There's some of them as much as 6 weeks behind. Box beef cutout values. Choice cuts down 543 at 404.04, and like we said earlier in the week, it looks like these packers are kind of trying to hold these dressed meat prices here around $4 a pound, while they're giving quite a bit less than $2 a pound for it. But select cuts 391.18 up 231 because there's not a lot of select product out there. Another brisk movement of 155 loads of cuts, grinds, and trimmings. Slaughter has been impressive for the way we've been going here since this COVID-19, but still lacking behind a year ago, but it's gaining big every week, and we're encouraged by that. But through Wednesday, 294,000, that's almost 100,000 per day for the first 3 days of the week. That's up 28,000 from the same point a week ago, but down 68,000 from the same week a year ago. So look at your feeder cattle market. Your real-time index on DB Auction late on Wednesday at 126.16, down 70 cents, mostly due to the board. Look at your big sales. OKC West, El Reno, Oklahoma had 15,000 head of cattle this week. Still trying to catch up, get rid of those graze out wheat cattle. You compare that 15,000 that they had this week to a year ago, they had 1,700 altogether. So that goes to show you how imbalanced things are. Feeders, $1 to $3 lower. Calves were not well tested. Look at an individual quote out of OKC West in El Reno. String of cattle out of Bennington, Oklahoma. 202 head, 775 pound steers at 130 and a quarter. That's pretty respectable right there. Winter Livestock, Dodge City, Kansas had 2,600 head. Feeders there, of course, they had a lot of much lighter numbers there, but feeders there were $1 to $4 higher up in Dodge City, Kansas. Some individual quotes on Wednesday. Stockman's Livestock out of Yankton, South Dakota, and we talked earlier in the week about the big fat cattle auction that they had on Tuesday with fat cattle coming out of 8 different states and selling really well, but they had their feeder cattle auction here on Wednesday. And out of Yankton, South Dakota, they had a big long string of big feeder steers there. 263 head, 865 pound steers at 138.50. Wow. They were selling calves there pretty respectable too. 73 head, 528 pound steer calves bring 176, and that's the highest we've seen for a while. But the top quote that I saw anywhere was out of my old stomping grounds out of St. Joe Stockyards, St. Joseph, Missouri. 56 head, 731 pound steers, $145. And that's your feeder flash for Thursday.